Well, Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. The Pelicans got a win last night, which of course means it must be Christmas if the Pels are playing basketball, because we all know the NBA season doesn't start until Christmas. Todd Graffinini, radio voice of the Pels, good enough to join us. How are you, Graf?
Music to my ears. Merry Christmas, Matt. Fantastic.
How did it feel being back last night?
Hey, man. I got to use one of my favorite lines in broadcasting last night. Can't win them all if you don't win the first.
I love it.
So, you know, 82-0, it's still alive. So, no, it was awesome, man. You go through the off season and the preseason, and finally the season, gets underway. You call the game, and to win on the road like that against a divisional opponent, very difficult place to play. And I don't think Willie Green could have scripted it any better than that. It wasn't pretty at times, but they did it with defense, rebounding, physicality, and 111 points. It could have been a lot better, but when you hold a team to 104 points, no matter if you're at home or on the road, you're going to win a lot of ball games, and that's ultimately what happened.
Pels do win it 111-104. As you mentioned, it was a road game against a divisional opponent, a place where the Pels have not had a lot of success. Obviously, no Ja last night for Memphis, but that ain't going to matter at the end of the season when you look at the standings, who was there and who wasn't. Let's talk for the Pels about who was there and how they did, most notably Zion in his debut. Last night, after playing up roughly half a season a year ago, what did you see last night?
It took him a little while to get going. He hadn't played in a live game other than the preseason, obviously, since January 2nd. And, last night you're going up against the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Jaren Jackson Jr., who had 5 blocked shots last night. And I think Zion tried to do a little bit too much, challenging Jackson. The guy's just an incredible shot blocker. He averaged three a game last year, which is just phenomenal numbers. And Zion was getting the shot blocked a little bit, and I was imploring on the air time and time again. I said, "Hey, let's somebody dunk the ball," because this guy's just blocking every layup we're attempting. And when Zion drove the lane and then just posterized Triple J with that right hand, I think that just kind of settled everybody down. And a two-way player who the Pelicans signed literally on Sunday hit a couple threes, and Matt Ryan, and that just kind of that's a whole nother story in itself.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But it just opened everything up, and then just you settled down, and the defense really locked them down. You go on a 26-7 run in the second quarter, and that ultimately was the ball game. I know they had a 10-0 run, did the Grizzlies at the end of the second quarter, but you got the 2 dunks from Zion at the end of the second quarter, got it back up to 10 at halftime, and then it was basically cruise control from there.
Graf, how in the world did the Pelicans end up with Matt Ryan on their team?
Oh, man. let me tell you something.
I think everybody's listening, watching that game going, come on?
Matt,
say what?
Matt, let me take you back to November 2nd last year. I still have PTSD from being at the old Staples Center. I don't even know what it's called now in L.A. when the Pelicans up 3 with 1.4 seconds left in the ball game against the Lakers, just needed 2 free throws from Dyson Daniels to ice the game. He misses both free throws. LeBron rebounds it. They call timeout. And somehow this guy who I'd never even heard of, other than being on the roster, named Matt Ryan, of all names, hits a right corner 3 to send the game to overtime. The Pelicans ultimately lose.
That.
If you think, Matt, that game, and you think of 2 others last year, really cost the Pelicans being at minimum a 7 seed. And, you win that game, you could possibly be out of the play-in. So that guy hit a massive shot against the Pelicans last year. And look, he was with the Timberwolves last year. He was a 2-way player, and on Friday they waived him. And the front office, David Griffin, said, "Hey, look, this guy can shoot threes. He's been a journeyman in the NBA, but he's a career 40% three-point shooter." And they picked him up. They signed him Sunday, and I'm telling you, Matt, I was at practice on Monday, and that guy was in uniform, wearing a white jersey, which means you're in the backup group. The starters wear blues, but he was getting a lot of time in practice, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy actually could play. and I didn't know he was going to play the amount of minutes that he did last night. But, Matt, he got the ball in the right wing. He knocked that first three down, and it's like, all right. And then he hit the second one. It's like, okay. And then 2 minutes later, he hit another one. It's like, okay, this is why he was signed. But one of the most improbable stories. I mean, the guy was doing DoorDash. I mean, he was driving DoorDash. And now here he is. And he was an absolute contributor last night. If he's not playing last night, the Pelicans might not pull it out.
Graf, if nobody watched the game.
I still have PTSD, though. I still do.
If you didn't watch the game and you just go look at the box score and you look at the plus minus, Matt Ryan was plus 20. He led the Pelicans.
I'm not a plus minus guy. I literally did a triple take. Like, all right, so this guy's on the court and the Pels dominate.
Yeah.
Okay. And Zion Williamson was -8 last night. So you explain that one to me.
Zion with 23 and 7 for the Pels in 32 minutes. Graf, look, it's one of 82. We all understand that. But anything else that you saw last night that you thought was particularly encouraging?
It was just good to see the big three out there, man. I mean, You see what the possibility is when McCollum, Ingram, and Zion are on the floor at the same time. And C.J. McCollum is now fully healthy. He wasn't healthy much at all last year, and he still was a very solid contributor. But to see him, make 6 threes last night and play defense and distribute the ball, and then Ingram was pulling off his best Lonzo Ball imitation with the alley-oops to Zion Williamson. B.I. had 6 assists. The crazy thing is, I don't think Ingram would say that he played his best game. Yet he scored 19 points, had 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. You're going to take those numbers as far as the assists and the rebounds go. The scoring's going to come with Brandon because that's what he does. He's just very, very talented. Zion Williamson's a career 60-point field goal guy, 60% field goal guy, and he was 9 for 17 last night. So that's going to go up.
Yeah.
It's just the 12th time these guys have played together. So that's going to get better. But you see the potential. You see the potential that's there if you can just get the consistency with those 3 guys on the court each and every night.
I got 2 more for you, Graf. Todd Graffinini is with us, radio voice of the Pels. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at ntgraf. One of the things that we talked a lot about, and I know it was a big point of criticism of Willie Green a year ago, were a lot of the rotations. Anything that you noticed that was different yesterday? Maybe anything that Willie changed? I get it; it's a small sample, but anything stand out there?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, Jonas played 29 minutes last night, which is really a lot for him. They did take him out of the lineup to go a little more small ball 5. They put Zion at the 5 a couple times. But you know what really impressed me? That Willie Green wasn't afraid to put Matt Ryan and Jordan Hawkins on the court at the same time. Like, you know what? The Pelicans need some three-point shooters out there, and he wasn't afraid to try it out, and it worked. I mean, Jordan Hawkins' first shot in the NBA was a straightaway 3 that he made.
Nice.
So, the rotations, I think they're going to iron itself out as the season goes along. Again, it was game 1. We'll see what happens on Saturday night against New York, but I just think his willingness to try different things. I mean, again, who'd have thought that Matt Ryan was going to play 14 minutes last night? But Willie Green knew it was working. So why are you going to take him out of the ball game? So I think that was really and look, I thought Larry Nance played really well, even though he only scored 2 points. He had 8 rebounds. And look, Herb Jones, he is so underrated, even though everyone in New Orleans doesn't think so. He scored 13 points, Matt, but he hit 2 threes. He had 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. He just quietly goes about his business and one of the best defenders in the NBA. So it was really a team effort, and it was just good to see because, like you said earlier, Memphis is a tough place to play. No, they didn't have Ja. They didn't have Steven Adams. Well, like I said, that's a them problem. That happens. That's the NBA. What last I saw, we didn't have Trey Murphy out there knocking threes down. So it is what it is. You got to stack wins. Everyone in this league is important because you never know what game could keep you out of a spot when you're talking about the postseason. So they all count.
Last thing, what about the rookie, Dyson Daniels? Got some run last night. What'd you think?
Played okay. At 6 points, was aggressive, got to the lane, hit a runner in the lane, which was really nice. Did get into some foul trouble, but he had 5 rebounds, couple steals, and he is going to be a big part of this team this year. I would think after the starters come out, he's going to be 1 or 2 off the bench. They really want to get him involved because he's a big guard. He's 6'7". He can handle the ball. He's an outstanding defender, and he's a very underrated passer as well. What he needs to do is get a little more aggressive offensively, but we saw a little glimpse of that last night when he drove to the hoop.
Yeah, it was a beautiful move in the lane, little spin, went on the right side, and kissed it off the glass. You can see the ability is there, man. It's going to be fun to watch this team as we move throughout the year. Todd Graffagnini, Pels back on the floor, home opener Saturday night. They're at the Blender against the Knicks coming in. Pels should be home favorite in that game. See if they can push it to 2-0 on their way to 82-0. Graf, we appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Baby, please come home.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.